Hello, and welcome to the Performer's Guide. My name is Krystin Railing, and welcome to my first YouTube live video. Thank you so much for popping on and saying hello. This is Get Your Shit Together 21-Day Personal Challenge. And during this program, I will be going live every day on YouTube for the next 21 days to help you get your shit together. And if you missed any live video and you're enrolled in my program, you will get access to any of the recorded live videos in the Discord, in our WhatsApp, or it will also be uploaded onto the Teachable program as well. And if you're not enrolled in the program, welcome. You still get an opportunity to watch each of the videos live. And if you missed any of the live recordings, they will stay live up here on the live tab in my YouTube channel here on the Performers Guide. So I'm very excited to be presenting this program to you. I have run this program about 5 years in a row, and this is my first time giving the presentation publicly. So I'm very excited to have you all here and joining me. And hopefully this will be the first of many live videos that I do here on the Performers Guide YouTube channel. So how it works is this is a 21-day program. It's a personal challenge for you to get your shit together. And so during this program, we will be working on our goal setting. We're going to be working on our personal accountability, and we're going to be making sure that everything that we want to have happen in 2024 is set up in place for us so that we feel like we're set up for success this year and not like the year just passes us by and we haven't made any progress towards our goals. And so the first step of doing that is making goals and then also changing our habits so that we are doing actions that are in alignment with our goals. So today we're going to be just chatting over what the program is, what you can expect during the program, and how you can get involved during it. So how it works is it's a 21-day challenge, and there's 3 portions to the program. And so the first part is your habits. We're gonna be doing habit tracking. And so if you haven't done habit tracking, it's a way where we map out what our habits are, and we keep track of them throughout the course of the next 3 weeks. So that way we can see where our actions are in alignment when they're not in alignment with our goals. The second part of this program is what I call the no list. And so these gonna wanna do during the program. These things could be smoking, cursing, staying up too late, drugs, gambling. We're gonna talk about all of those and figuring out which ones are important for you and which ones you will wanna cut out during this program to give yourself the best chance of success for the year. And then the third part of the program is worksheets. So I have personally created 21 different worksheets for this program that are customized and created specifically for this program based on actions that I personally take in my life, usually during around December and January time, on how I make sure I have my shit together for the beginning of the year and setting it up into the year. And so I have mapped out, listed out, and then created worksheets to help guide you along with how I run the program. And if you're not actually enrolled in this program, all the worksheets and everything will be linked down below, as well as you'll have an opportunity to join the program if you would like to get immediate feedback and assistance from me and community support in our WhatsApp and Discord group. Okay? So, first thing we're going to talk about today, and we're going to go over each one of these more in their own days, but I just want to start to talk about and get your mind prepped for how we're going to be structuring our lives for the next 3 weeks. Okay. So, the first thing we want to think about is our habits, right? And so, over the course of the next few days, we will be actively talking and thinking about what our habits are. And so what I like to do is I like to map out my habits based on the times of the day. And so we've got our morning routine, we've got a midday routine, we've got our evening routine, and then we also have weekly routines, monthly routines, and then yearly routines that we do. And oftentimes I see people just kind of focusing on maybe our morning routine or our daily routine. but really starting to think about our life holistically and figuring out what our rhythms are, circadian rhythms, our emotional rhythms, the way that we go through the year. We wanna start just mapping that out so that, A, we're in alignment, and then also so we can create spaciousness for things that we wanna do, and we don't overpack ourselves. A lot of times, once we put everything in, we're like, "Oh my, I have overcommitted." And the amount of times that I do that is shocking, and so that's why I like to make sure that I'm constantly reevaluating my habits and the way that I interact with, yes? And then the next part is our no list. And so I have mapped out my personal no list of things that are important for me to monitor and to kind of nip in the bud when things get a little bit out of control. But for you, you're going to want to think about the things that are important for you. You might like my no list. There might be other things that are important for you to focus on during this time. And there might be certain things that you don't even think are important to think about right now, and that's fine too. This whole program is customizable and is designed for you to take control of it in the way that you like. Yes? And so the ones that I specifically talk about and go over are no smoking, no drinking, no gambling. We like to monitor our digital intake, so no doom scrolling or just mindlessly scrolling. We're gonna be monitoring the way that we speak about ourselves and other people. We're gonna be focusing on our mindset, as well as other activities, gambling, video games, these other actions that sometimes can be harmless or may feel harmless, but if left unchecked, can create emotional disturbances and our goals, throughout the year. So we're gonna be focusing on those and which ones are important to you, okay? And then we've got the worksheet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna scroll down here on my notes so I can talk about what our worksheets are. What I wanna do is try to do one worksheet a day if possible. I know that this is an intense program, so if you're not able to do one each day, that's okay. You can catch up, you have time to catch up, and if you miss any throughout the program, you have access to these year-round. You can always go back, reevaluate, re-examine, and do further deep work on each one of these topics, okay? So day 1 today, we're just doing a welcome note. We're just welcoming, we're making sure that we're engaged, that we are able to find the YouTube channel, that we're able to find all of the other aspects of the program that we need, and making sure that you're enrolled in this program for it. Tomorrow, we will start the actual work, and so we want to just we're gonna clean our room. We're gonna get it together. We're gonna make sure that we've created a safe, clean space for us to do the program in. And for some people, that might be cleaning off your desk. Make sure you put down your notebook. For some people, that might be cleaning your entire office. For some, it might be cleaning out your kitchen. There's certain things that you probably let slide over the past couple months, either due to seasonal depression or due to the holidays or just being overbooked or procrastinating. We're gonna start to map those out tomorrow and just we're gonna start to clean our internal and external rooms, okay? And then on day 3, we're gonna start focusing on our habit tracking, and so I've briefly described it, but we're gonna go over it in great detail, each line item and how it can affect your life. And then on day 4, we're gonna go over the no list in greater detail. I'm gonna talk about my personal experiences with each one of these and why they're important for me and my tips and tricks on how to say no during January. Then we're going to set our alarms. The most important thing is that you show up for things that you say you're gonna do. So, making sure that we're awake on time, making sure that we're showing up to work on time, making sure that we're showing up to these meetings on time. It's hard to set goals and achieve goals if we're not actually making it to the things that we set out to do. So on day 5, we will be setting our alarms and getting that together. Then on day 6, we're gonna start to look at our calendars. What have we already agreed to? What's in there that we aren't doing anymore? We're we're gonna start to reevaluate the commitments that we've made to ourselves and to other people and start to clear out space and also start to put on the tasks that we know that are important. Because oftentimes we've got pending gigs, we've got client meetings, we've got classes that we take weekly, we've got these engagements that we have. They're not on the calendar. We just got them up in here. And what's going to either happen is you're going to forget or you're going to have really bad anxiety and sleeplessness because you're trying to remember all these things in your brain. And so part of the program is getting things out of here onto paper so that we can have spaciousness and mental energy for other things. And then we will be talking about our resting. And so every Saturday, we will be doing a resting based activity. And so the first one that we're going to do is called Start, Stop, More or Less. And on that day, we're going to figure out what in our life is working, what is not working currently, what do we want to do more of, what do we want to do less of, what do we want to start this year, and what are we going to stop doing this year. And I love this one. It's so powerful because I think we all know what these things are and what we want to do more or less of in our life, but really mapping them out on the paper helps give ourselves a little bit more accountability in that process. And so that's week one. We're really just trying to make sure that our current habits, goals, commitments are in alignment and mapped out in our calendars and alarms and in our mind. Then in week two, we are going to be focusing on our goals. So we're going to be focusing on making sure that we are in alignment and understand what are we doing this year, right? So first, we're going to do our ikigai, which is one of my favorite worksheets. Is a Japanese phrase for finding your life's purpose. And I've completely expanded the module, all modules really. And I'm really excited to do a little bit deeper dive on the ikigai and how to figure out the best way to figure out your life's purpose with that. And we're going to start with why. This is another activity that I really love. A lot of times my clients will come to me and they know what they want to do. They might know how they want to do it, but sometimes their why is a little bit murky. And then when rejections or difficulties, struggles, all these things come in, it's easy to get thrown off your balance if you don't know what your why is. And so we're going to really focus on that so that throughout the year, if we make mistakes, if we get rejected, if things aren't going our way, we can tap back into that why and know, okay, this is a stepping stone towards my why, and it allows us to persevere in a different way than if we not that. Then we're going to do our wheel of life, and this is a wonderful worksheet that I've been using well before I even started the performer's guide, and is one that really helps me map out my goals for the year. And so oftentimes in business or in life, when I'm talking to clients and ask them what their goals are, they've got very specific goals that are towards their business goals or their life goals. But when we're sole proprietorship or small business with just a few employees or a few owners, our whole life is really tied to our business in a way that sometimes we might not understand. And so I really like to use this worksheet to break down our life, not into just one circle, but into different pieces and figuring out where we need to shift focus for the year. And by the end of that, you come out of it from having one or two goals to having a wide set of goals. And then once we have those goals, then we'll do our SMART goal list, which is taking those goals and making them extremely actionable by putting timelines on them, quantifying them, making sure they're realistic, and breaking down the steps that we need to do to accomplish those goals. And so that's a really nice little kind of 4-day chunk. And by the end of that, you will feel really set up on your goals. And then once we have our goals, we want to take those goals and we'll break them down and put them into a to-do list. And we'll have them in actionable steps. We give those timelines. And then throughout the year, whether if you're working on me, if you're working with me, or working on your own, you'll have these goals broken down in a way that feels more actionable. And then we'll talk about our most important task, which is how to take your goals, which are now in a to-do list, and figure out how do I pick which ones to do each day. Because a lot of times people just get up and go, and then the whole day just sort of takes over their life, and then they kinda get spat out the other end of the day and are like, "Shit, I didn't get any of my goals done." And so really just waking up and making sure, "Okay, I've got the first 3 things that I know I need to do today." And then if the other things come along, you can go, "Okay, wait, is that in alignment with things I need to get done today?" And if not, you can put it on the list, but it goes on the bottom of the list, not the top of the list. And then we will talk about on day 14, which will be the second Saturday, we're gonna start to talk about the different types of rest that we need. And so, oftentimes when people are like, "Oh, take some rest," it seems very vague and ethereal to me. And so when I looked it up, I was like, "Oh, that's why." Because there's actually like 8 different types of rest that we need: physical, spiritual, emotional, social, etc. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna break down all those different types of rest that we might need, and we're gonna figure out which ones we need to focus on each time. And so what I love about that one is anytime I feel exhausted or burnt out or something, I'll go to that one and look and try to pinpoint what type of tired am I? Because oftentimes it's different than maybe what I feel in that moment. So tap in, figure out what kind of rest you need, and then I give tons of examples of ways to do that. Then in week 3, we're gonna start to really focus about our actual skills and the way that we want to proceed over the next year. So a lot of times we create these goals, we've got our action plan, but then there'll be holes in our skill set versus plans that we've made. And so throughout the year, you might want to either learn something new or figure out a way, oh, okay, this is where I can outsource a skill to somebody else who you might be able to bring onto the team. And so that's what we're going to start to figure out. One, what are the skills that you have that you want to learn and implement and expand on? And then what are the skills that are completely lacking that you want to outsource and hire for other people? And then we're going to start closing the gap. And so once we know where our skills lie, what skills we want to learn, we can figure out how to close that gap. And again, it's by creating actionable steps to learn how to do whatever that skill is. And sometimes that can be really confusing. And so that's what this program is going to help you break that. And then we're gonna talk about time management. And so we talk a little bit about it in the calendaring, but then also we're gonna talk about it and how to set boundaries for yourself to have better time management, either through time blocking or through bullet journaling or through other tips and tricks that I use to help make sure that I am managing my time, because I sometimes get extremely hyper focused on really small tasks. You can go too long, or you can have no focus and you're just sort of bouncing around left and right. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna figure out how to give yourself some focus during that time and set up time management quadrants for yourself. And then we're gonna talk about our toleration, things that we just tolerate in our life that maybe we don't need to. Could be messy rooms, could be people in our lives, could be different situations that we just tolerate, and oftentimes, they really only take 1 or 2 little changes to get them out of our life or to benefit our life. But a lot of times we just will let that pass over and over and over and over again, and when we have those that systematically start to pile up, then you have all these things in your life that you're literally just tolerating instead of doing something greater than that. And so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start to list all that out and then systematically nip each one in the bud so that we can start focusing on other things that we're not just tolerating, but that we're celebrating. Yes? And then we're gonna talk about our impact. So we've got all these goals, we've got a setup for what we want, and now we wanna make sure that we are creating the most impact for our goals. And some things that we feel like might be big might actually have a small impact. And some things that might feel small could have a big impact. We want to map those out and see, okay, what size impact am I trying to make? How much effort does that take? Is it worth my time to do that activity? And oftentimes I'll look through my goals, and then when I'm like, "Oh," and I examine the impact, the value to my effort might not be there. And so this year, especially, I'm really shifting so that I can give my impact to more people while still preserving more of my time and energy. So I'm not giving a lot of energy to one person, I'm giving a little energy to a lot of people, okay? And then on the last day, we're just gonna come together and we're gonna tally up our habits, our no's, our worksheets, and in the worksheet, you'll be able to go to the bottom, and I've changed the scoring a little bit, so not much, but it's just a little bit different than last time, and we can go over that on Wednesday. We do our live group coaching calls. And so as part of this program, we do Zoom calls every Wednesday for the next 3 weeks at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so during that time, you have the opportunity to ask me direct questions about the worksheets. You can give feedback, goals, that you're working on, as well as have accountability and support for those that you're trying to work on that might have some difficulty. Okay? So this is a really fun 3-week program. I always have so much fun presenting this, and I really do feel like by the end of it, I have a way more solid understanding of what my year's gonna look like and where I wanna put my efforts. And so I really hope that you'll join me in getting your shit together in 2024. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow.